Because of what the EU and China said today, things are about to get really crazy with XRP. That's why I'm making this video, because we all know that every day is a roller coaster. I want to give you the latest, best, and maybe even worst news. Let's start with the EU. They want US taxes to stay in place since talks are no longer going anywhere. Trump said they were doing a great job on tariffs, but the European Union thinks they won't be going away soon because they can't come to an agreement. It's interesting to hear what the EU has to say now. They've pretty much said that Trump doesn't want to make a deal and that the tariffs were the right thing to do. Considering what Trump has said, this is a very interesting reason to put them in place. Please tell me what you think below. I know that Trump doesn't want inflation to rise, at least in the short term, so if this goes on for too long, it will have a huge effect on it. The S&P 500 has also gone down since the EU said tariffs will stay in place, and there have been no more talks about them. Got a lot better. The S&P went from almost 5,500 below to $54.00, which is a pretty big change. But it's clear that this will have a big impact on trading in both the S&P 500 and cryptocurrencies. For example, XRP was trading very close to $220.00, and after this news came out, there weren't any crazy price drops. The stock fell a few percentage points, but the market dropped 30% in one day, which is still something that should be looked at. The next thing I see as the granite breaking is sales of single family homes in a strong market. This is usually the best way for me to figure out where the economy is going because it's so accurate. One, this means that there are a lot more new home listings, but sales are either slowing down or staying the same. This is a scary sign that the housing market is about to crash. So this is what we see now. By the way, when the housing market crashes, it's probably the bottom of the market and a great time to buy. There are now 400,000 single-family homes for sale, which is the most since November 2007. That was an interesting time. I think a lot of you will remember it. The market was about to reach its peak in 2007, and soon after the new home statistics came out, banks started to fail. Looks like the banks are under the same kind of stress today, and they will need to be. Bailouts of banks and quantitative easing as a boost. Since 2004, the number of new homes on the market has more than tripled. This is because more and more people are not paying their debts and are trying to sell their homes because they can't afford to pay them longer. 13 years ago, there were only 142,000 brand new homes for sale, which was a very strong market. These days, there are more brand new homes on the market now than at any time since the housing bubble burst in 2006. The number of new single-family homes for sale in the South dropped by 8,000 to 296, which is close to an all-time high. There were 291 in 2006, the year before the crash, which is more than that. Are home prices going to go down? Soon, I think they will be, because it looks like the Fed should start making money soon. That's why Trump is pleading with the Fed to act so quickly. But the Fed uses data that's about 3 months old. This is an old way that doesn't work with today's fast-pacing economies. Something needs to change, but it's also clear that China's words are getting stronger. China is much more hostile toward the U.S. In fact, the most recent thing they said about the U.S. was that, with have no shame, they also say that the tariff war will end soon. To put it simply, China's saying, hey, listen up. The U.S. needs us a lot more than we need the U.S. We've been selling goods made in our country to the U.S. for tens of years. And you can stop buying our stuff if you want to. The prices will go up, but you can't pay them right now because your economy is about to crash. It's not exactly what was said, but most of what Chinese President Xi Jinping has been saying lately is pretty much the same thing. Our economy is going through. Prices are going up for you guys right now, and they'll get even worse if things keep going the way they are. I don't know what Trump has planned for inflation yet, but I think he's going to surprise me again. For example, after the first few times he taxed other countries, inflation rates went down, which was one of the things I found surprising about him. So maybe he's planning for something here. There's a chance that he has a deal with any of these price hikes to keep prices low for customers. I'm not sure, but if you have anything else to say about that, please leave it in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading your answers because I think that inflation is going to happen because of The way Trump is running things now, there will be inflation unless something else goes wrong. I think the US still can't make things they need for a while. I also think it's great that manufacturing is coming back to the US, but I haven't seen much of that short-term pain outside of the stock market yet, which is why I want to know when prices will go up, start to move. Do you mind paying more if it means you won't be able to do business with China? One more thing I really need to hear from you is that the Trump administration might use cryptocurrency as a plan. For example, they recently said that they might use tariff money to buy Bitcoin, which I find very interesting. As one thing Trump has said, they want customs to be used instead of income tax. They also might use the money from tariffs to buy Bitcoin. I'd like to play this video quickly for you because I think it's one of the most interesting things that's happened recently. Anyhow, let me play this video. But I've also heard Nick and other people talk about the idea that we could use money from outside sources. So how are you guys thinking about how we could buy more Bitcoin? I think Senator Lemus has a great idea. With the Bitcoin Act of 2025, it's been a big hit with the public. What you would do is revalue the gold certificates that are currently worth more than Bitcoin. Most of them are worth about $43.00 an ounce in the government, which is a lot less than what they're really worth. There you go. At the moment, an ounce of gold costs about $3,000.00. If you had that extra cash, you could buy more Bitcoin to use as a backup. Right now, that's the thought that's going around. Let's see how many co-sponsors she can get and how she can get her co-workers on board. There are, however, a lot of smart ways we can do this, whether they come from tariffs or something else. There are a million different ways to do this. I'll let some of our people in the agency working group should come up with ideas in their own offices. We will look at everything though, because everything is on the table. We've already said that we want everything that's out there. So that's what we'll do as we start to clean up some of these processes.